Welcome to Gamer Premonitions Final Fantasy VII Remake with the implied Part 1. I'm your host, Dan Video Games, and with me we have our usual future seers, KZ Excellent from kzexcellent.com.
The reunion at hand may bring fear, but let us accept whatever it brings.
Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride.
Loveless, Act 1.
And Bob from GigaBoots.com.
Final Fantasy VII's a good game. Sip.
It's a good time to get out of RPGs.
Yeah, nothing worthwhile after that.
Just a bunch of tales of games. You know, someone stumbled onto this and has no context for the fact any of us are kidding.
Captain Picard.
Engage.
So, in this show, like always, we're going to predict a number of things that will undoubtedly be true of Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're going to do it.
Future facts, you might say.
Yes, future facts, you might say.
Dan, I need to summarize this project so people know what it is.
Oh, of course. What is Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Final Fantasy VII Remake is a poorly named project by Square Enix. In this first game that is not named anything to indicate it is a first game, all the stuff you know is going to happen will, except for the stuff they may or may not cut. March 2020, only on the CW.
Oh no! Is this part of the Arrowverse?
It sounds like it.
So Dan, are you excited to find out what this is?
What do you mean, find out? I already know.
Oh!
Using my gamer premonitions. So we're going to go one at a time, coming up with 4 different premonitions each, and in the middle, we're going to have a lightning round full of questions for Mr. Feel.
Lightning as in rapid fire, not as in a bad character's armpits.
Not a bad armpit, though.
Oh my god. Please make this stop.
That's the way in on
A
the
very
situation.
important distinction.
We're going to go ahead and start off with Bob. Bob, what is your first premonition?
I'm glad I get to lead the way. I think
Oh, no.
I hope that no one beats me here.
Okay.
All right. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake is not a remake. This is actually going to be a sequel game, but very sneakily. Much like in the Evangelion Rebuild films, we'll see a lot of hints.
Oh my god, I had this down but decided against it. It was too crazy.
No,
God damn it, Bob.
See, you weren't willing to go crazy. But
This is
as soon
fucked
as-
up. This is fucked up. Why is he gonna win already?
As soon as they showed the ghosts and mentioned
Yes.
what they were, I was like, oh, this is...
yeah, the Watchmen of Fate are my only hint for this. And I'm going to say what I think they are from my next premonition.
Calling it shot from downtown. You trying to tell me you split your premonition into parts to be released at a later point in time?
Yes, it's a very important strategic method.
All right, I feel like the budget makes sense. You would go under if you gave us all these premonitions at once.
It just makes sense. Oh my god. Okay. We're going to move on hastily so I don't pass out from all the kino. Mr. Feel, what is your first premonition?
The first one, Yuffie will be in the game, but she won't be playable. Because I don't think they're going to be like, okay, you don't get to see Yuffie till 2. I think they will have her stealing something and you'll meet her. Maybe there will be a quest where you chase her around, like a side quest. Maybe it'll be mandatory. She won't join the party, but she will exist in the game. And there will be like a chunk where you're chasing or interacting with her.
Oh man, I really want that to be true.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I would appreciate them building her out a little bit more in how she comes across the party. This is pretty good. KZ, do you have anything you can follow that up with?
All right, Red 13 will be introduced into the game earlier and will be playable. So, because they said they're only going up to Midgar. He is introduced in the last, 50 minutes of the Midgar section. maybe less when you think about it. I feel like he'll be introduced earlier, or they will just expand out a lot of stuff toward the end where it makes sense that he would be a playable character in the first game. You won't have to wait. Because the only other option I feel like is just they'd have to find some way to just keep him off screen long enough, and I feel like people would just be way too disappointed.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
he's like in Midgar doing something and you see him get captured.
Yeah, there's like stuff that makes you go, oh, he's doing this here.
Yeah, they could have a separate raid on the laboratory from when you have the final interaction with the rest of the business at the very end of the thing.
That we will have our four-legged combat in this first game coming out in March.
On the CW. I'm really glad I get to cap us off for this first round of premonitions. Palmer will get hit by a truck once per disc, meaning in part one's remake, he's going to be hit by a truck twice. It is going to be a comedy gag played up the most possible.
Now, Dan, what if the trucks are exponential and he's hit by two trucks in the second disc?
See, okay, check this out. We get it twice in part one, but part two is a much larger game, so we get it 4 times because there are 4 discs for part 2. And then part 3 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, he will be hit by 7 trucks.
Oh, Kino.
Every new town, a new truck for him to hit him with.
I will only accept this if on the side of the truck in somewhere it says the reunion.
That would be pretty great. I'm very excited to see him being hit by a truck at such a high fidelity, and getting to see it so many times will only make it that much better. Those were all really strong premonitions for round 1. I'm excited to see what Feel has to start us on round 2.
All right. In the original game, you have the Turks. You have the 3. You have Rude, Reno, and Elena. They don't really do anything. There's really only one time you have to fight most of them, and you don't even have to fight Elena at all. You can skip every single fight she's in, I think. But in this game, since this is an action RPG, there's something that's very important in action RPGs, especially action RPGs with multiple battles, with multiple playable characters. And that is rival battles.
Oh.
So not only will the Turks play a larger role, there will be more Turks. They will bring Cisne from Crisis Core in. And since Cisne is just a upgraded, she was one of the player archetypes you could pick in the Turks mobile phone game that just got promoted. They will promote a bunch of others, so everybody will get a rival Turk that they have to fight against at some point, and you will fight against them several times in part 1.
That's pretty good. I would like it if they built out the game a bit more like that. Do you... I want to ask questions, but I don't want to ruin other people's premonitions. It's always a balance.
That's a big fear.
It is. Don't want to step on anyone else's rose garden, Anyway. Okay. Well, with that said, I guess we're moving on to KZ for his second premonition.
All right, so this is a remake of a classic game from the old ugly Polygon era.
Vintage.
So I feel like it's only right that either as an unlockable or some sort of paid DLC, you'll get model swaps to look like the PS1 Lego looking character model.
Please.
And if you do that, it will also come with a classic soundtrack. So you can just play as and it's not like you go into Battle Cloud in the PS1 version. It's the one with big ass hands and SNES proportions, but in 3D.
How do you... Man, I was like, yeah, the battle model could totally work with that, because it could still work in the same animations. I don't know how you make classic map him.
Yeah.
You just stick it on there and don't give a shit that it clips to fuck.
It will look wrong. It will look wrong. Knowing the way Square Enix is, they will require you to have beaten the game once to be able to use it.
I want this so bad because they were going to do this with Final Fantasy 15 Mobile. The original pitch was that it literally just looked like the Final Fantasy 7 models. And then Tess testers didn't like it, so they made it bad instead.
Focus testing made a game worse.
Shock and awe.
But yeah, that'll be my second one.
Nice. I always like stuff like that, like in the Resident Evil 2 remake. It's always really neat, especially in that, since the lighting, much like, with the remake of Final Fantasy VII, the lighting is so intensely better that in order to make the look make sense, they made it look like paper mache almost. I would really like that.
Like, if it hit into cutscenes and you just see the Lego polygonal cloud and Aerith surrounded by these fucking ghosts in high fidelity, or just Cloud and Barret facing off against super highly detailed Scorpion.
Yep. It'd be good.
And I'm like, this would be perfect. That's the only way to play that game.
I kind of want low poly Scorpion now.
Okay, yes. The dream is that they would do that for the bosses too. So it's just every important thing living in a highly detailed world. But I just feel the need that only the player characters are it. So when you talk to a real NPC, it looks so wrong.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go next with my second premonition. Now, some people note that the mini-games that they sort of built into Final Fantasy VII, some of them are great, some of them are well-remembered, and others are kind of forgotten because maybe they're less developed. They only happen once.
Remember the submarine?
That was a flex.
My second premonition is that the barrel sequence as you help Aerith escape is going to be even more developed with very intense physics and projectile projection, so that way you can see the first bounce off of the whatever you're throwing it at.
Oh man, so it's like throwing a grenade in gears?
It is like throwing a grenade in gears.
Nice.
But the physics simulation is cranked way high up. So if you throw it straight at the ground, it'll explode on the ground. But if you can angle it so that way it slows its velocity, it won't immediately shatter as it hits the ground. So your goal is to very delicately aim your shot so it rolls all the way to the bottom and hits the enemy and not Aerith.
Need to make sure you give Reno that concussion.
Yes.
Will there be slapstick noises?
No, it'll have the sound production of a Michael Bay movie. Lots of very bassy sounds.
Okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah, it's going to be very cool.
I can take it seriously now.
Yes, now it's real. Now it's for keeps.
Yes.
Bob.
Yeah?
What is your second
so
premonition?
All right.
I'm so excited. The narrative continues.
So the Watchmen of Fate are the future ghosts of all the people who die in the first run of Final Fantasy VII. So they die. So they're going to be trying to keep things on the right path and making sure that they still die, because the live stream is making them do this so that it knows that this is what saved the planet before. So you get the choice to save these people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
This would be terrible if this is what's actually happening.
This is
powerful.
This is incredible. It almost feels real.
I had the same thought as Bob when they're like, these are the ghosts of fate or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, it's like the fucking Rebuild movies.
Yeah, I'm really scared of this element to this series, because like Final Fantasy VII originally had almost basically nothing to do with fate. A lot of things were just things that happened. There was no one like, oh man, I must do this, my fate.
There was absolutely no element of that at all in 7.
While I look forward to it being literally personified on screen as a theme in this game, it's very exciting. Thank you, Bob, for this premonition. And now we've reached the halfway point. It's time for Mr. Fields' lightning round that has nothing to do with the character from 13.
Also nothing to do with the unique flavor of Mountain Dew at KFC.
Just for the record.
You don't need deodorant for this segment.
Here's the first question. How many parts is this going to be, Dan?
3.
Bob?
If it's good, it'll be 3. Otherwise, we're looking at 7.
Oh no, it will not be 7.
That would involve expanding even more than this first game, because Midgar is still a fifth of the game.
Yeah, that's why I said the first thing.
KZ, how many?
3. 4 is like the limit, and even that feels a little bit nuts.
I'm gonna agree with KZ. 4 is possible.
Four is possible, but I bet they don't even want to do 4.
But 3 is the most likely. Second question. This is a really interesting one that I saw people arguing about on Twitter, so I wanted to get everybody's opinions on it. How many parts of the Final Fantasy VII Remake will you be able to play on PS4? Dan.
3.
All 3.
Yes.
Bob.
2.
KZ.
Since I said 3 will be what they're doing, all 3, but the third one will be embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Bob and say 2, and the reason is there's precedent. When Heavensward, this first Final Fantasy 14 expansion, came out in like 2015, well into the PS4's lifespan, but it was on PS3. But then when when Stormblood happened, they were like, no, we gave you one, you have to get a fucking PS4 now.
They wanted to finally update the tech. It's like how they dropped with the new expansion 32-bit.
Yeah,
Windows.
they dropped 32-bit operating systems. I think they'll give everybody the second one. They'll be like, okay, you'll have had time since the original. You need to get a PS5. And here's the last general question. There's still game-specific ones. How long will this entire project take starting from the release of the first game, KZ?
Starting from the release of the first game. So it would be how long until it's done from March of 2020?
March of 2020.
On the CW.
Unless it gets delayed.
Yeah, unless it gets delayed.
Yeah, so whatever the start date then. 4.5 years.
So you think it will be fall 2024?
Yes.
Bob.
I'm going to go full 5 years.
Dan?
5 years. I was thinking that before Bob said it, but Bob's a brilliant man who came to the exact same conclusion as me.
And I am going to say, yeah, KZ is 4.5. Last part will be out fall of 2024.
They've laid a lot of groundwork of systems, how combat is supposed to work, how at least a good chunk of the full roster are going to work within the game. So I feel like at this point, a 2-year turnaround on the following 2 parts should be that. It shouldn't be like longer than 2-ish years. At that point, stop it. Hurry up.
And now it's time for the question specific to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. Will we see Sephiroth / Genova imitating Sephiroth in person? That means Cloud's hallucinations don't count, because in the original, you do not see Sephiroth until the boat ride. I mean, not counting the flashback, but you don't see him in-game until the boat ride. So will Sephiroth be in person anywhere in this game, Bob?
Don't we see him in person at the end of regular Final Fantasy VII Midgar when he stabbed the president?
You just see his sword. You find the guy dead with the sword in him.
Yeah, it's just the sword sticking out.
Okay, there wasn't anything else. Yeah, no, we're going to see him. In fact, I'm going to up the ante. We're going to fight him. That's going to be the finale for this.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, you say seeing him will be... Okay.
Yep.
KZ?
So we'll see him physically. I mean, obviously, yeah, because with Genova, yeah, sure.
I'm going to say no. And here's the second question. Will they find an excuse for you to fight Sephiroth in this first game? Not he turns into a monster, he swings that giant sword at you. This can be mental, this can be Cloud having a nightmare or something and they just threw it in for fun. But will you get to fight Sephiroth in this game? Dan.
Absolutely. I don't even have to think about it for a second. 100% happening.
KZ.
No.
Bob.
Yes, I actually already called it out in my last premonition, so definitely sticking with that.
I'm going to say no, I don't think they'll blow it this early.
They need to get the claps in early, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the last two. They're a combination.
Ooh. Like a Pizza Hut Taco Bell.
Will they keep in the endless staircase, and will Tifa call Barret a slur on them? Dan.
So since it's a combo question, I have to answer each one of them as a couplet, correct? So I get to answer one and then the other. The infinite stairs, yes. The other thing, no.
Bob.
Yeah, they'll keep the staircase thing in general, but no. She's not going to call him a slur. They'll figure out something less offensive for her to insult him with.
KZ.
Yes, no.
I'm going to say yes, and yes, but it won't be the same one.
She's going to have a heated gamer girl moment. I see. That makes sense.
I get it. She's going to call him a gamer.
Yep.
Oh, God.
And that was the lightning round.
She must not be forgotten.
Well, that was...
The goddess.
Praise the goddess.
Thank you, Pod Goddess. That was fun. Thank you for all those great questions. And that means it's KZ's turn now. KZ, what is the premonition to to start off the second half of all of these great premonitions?
All right. So the end sequence for the Midgar section of the original game was escaping. You're on the motorcycle. You eventually are like running away from like some weird mechanical monstrosity. You eventually reach the end of the road. You fight it, and then it ends. I feel like that boss will exist, but it will not be there. I think the final boss of part 1 will be some form of Genova. They will just replace that boss with something actually interesting.
Since KZ brought up the motor ball, which is what it's called, I'm going to bring up my premonition involving the motor ball, just to tack it on. It's pretty minor. We don't know what the fuck that thing is in the original game. It seems to just be a fucking robot. In the remake, it will be piloted by Heidegger.
Okay.
Who's Heidegger?
I can see him taking a much bigger role.
He's the big round guy who has a stupid laugh and he gets pissed off and starts punching his guys.
He laughs like a horse.
That makes sense. I was going to say it was probably piloted by Sephiroth.
You'll notice because wings are sprouting out of it, like Alexander.
No, he's going to be way more obvious than that. He's going to be writing it like Vulcan in Metal Gear Solid 3, so he's going to have his arms shoved into the machine. Did they kiss in
that one?
Some people did, yes.
Okay.
And he's going to drive it at you like that while screaming, "Cloud!" Also, he's going to have a really deep voice, I guess, for that scene. I don't know.
You know, it all makes sense. Long staircase, long ladder.
Is he going to hold bullets between his fingers and use his electrical powers to make them fire like they're in a gun?
Actually, he's going to have them in his teeth. He's just going to bite down in the...
Casey, why won't you play Metal Gear Solid?
Not on a modern machine.
Who's the bald Turk? A Jude, is that right?
That's Rude.
Rude. He's the one with lightning powers.
Oh, okay. That checks out. Well, I'll go ahead and throw down my premonition. My third one. So, we've got the stuff that's in the trailer that's clearly not true to the original game, and as Bob predicted, he has a premonition about them being people who died in Final Fantasy VII. Now, I'm not sure about that. But what I do know is this. Part 1 will hew very closely to the original subject material with exactly two incredibly noteworthy moments that deviate enough to let you know that things are going to go weird. The game ends with a trailer for the next part, and the thing that will make all of the people who aren't paying very close attention realize something is off is both of Red 13's parents are going to be alive.
Okay.
It's going to be
I
like...
see that maybe.
That's
I
weird.
I definitely think if they're doing something insane like that, they will leave little clues in.
Now, keep in mind, this is outside of except for all the everything.
What if Sephiroth were a bench?
Well, the Sephiroth, something clearly different instead of an extension of something that kind of happens already.
Yeah. something that's going to have larger ramifications on lore and flow of the later ends of the story.
Yeah, like more scorpion robots.
Yeah, like more scorpion. You got it. The first scene's gonna be really subtle, you know. It's gonna have the what was the word again? I keep mixing up the name for some reason. Seers of Fate. What was the term?
Watchmen of Fate.
Is it Watchmen or Watchers? Is it Watchmen of Fate?
I'll find out.
I keep mixing up the name in my head. It's so awful. Anyways,
Watchmen of Fate.
Okay, so the first scene, you know, where it's like, man, this is weird stuff happening here, is going to involve them, right? The second scene, Sephiroth's going to very deliberately stab the person who pilots Kate Sith, and they're going to die on screen, and you're going to see them as they start to mouth, wait a second. That's how you're going to know this is going to be different.
And then you will see the line in the subtitles, no, ... dipshit.
And that's going to end my third premonition. Bob, what is your third premonition?
Let's see. Aya Bray will appear in this video game. We got a tease in the very first announcement trailer. She's on a random billboard. She's going to be in here.
Oh, she's going to be...
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be another billboard or if they're going to actually model her in this video game.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, Aya Bray is a digital actress.
She is a digital actress.
Star of Parasite Eve 1, 2, and Third Birthday.
The Third Birthday.
The Third Birthday.
Respect.
When you find out what the third birthday means, you shit your pants.
When you find out what the R in remake means, you'll shit your pants.
Yes.
Oh no!
Tifa knows what the R in remake means.
No!
That's cool, Bob. Do you think she'll join your party?
No, probably not. That's asking a bit too much.
That's
unless she puts on her lightning outfit. Then she might join your party.
Use the photo mode to get a good shot of her armpit.
Okay. We're going to move on to Feel. Feel, what is your third premonition?
Now, this was not originally attached to Bob's incredible premonition, but, you know, it can, so I'm going to say it. Jessie, the girl in Avalanche, will survive. They're playing up her more than any of the others. You see Cloud saving her. She's on the back of his motorcycle while he does the motorcycle riding scene. She will live through the assault on the pillar that brings down the Sector 7 plate. She'll live, and she might even survive, be a mainstay character through the whole remake.
Oh, nice.
I could see it happening. I could see them stopping the entire event.
I feel like they're going to have one additional party member that was not in the original game at all.
Yeah, that seems likely.
The people that saw the full, because the behind closed doors thing is the entire bombing run, like the entire beginning section. Like, they played through the parts that weren't shown in the demo, and everyone said that Jessie was their favorite character in that. She gets a lot more play. She's also hitting on Cloud constantly. Like,
they could just be like trying to make it more crushing when all three of them bite it.
Yeah, when the pizza falls down.
I think she's gonna live.
That seems very likely. I think you're right. It will help play up the romantic triangle, or whatever shape it becomes, in the later parts of the game.
Watch they kill Aerith in this part. Man, that would blow people's minds, I think.
I was thinking about that.
Jessie is also an ancient somehow.
Somehow. Who cares how? Aerith gets crushed under the pizza.
That's too close to the dumb prediction I had that I was not going to use, but I'll attach it here. That is listed. Jessie is somehow an ancient. The culmination of the last part will involve you traveling back in time so that she can sacrifice herself instead of Aerith. She literally takes the place so she's the one that gets stabbed.
You can travel through time. Shouldn't you just stop the stabbing?
No, Bob, that's not how scripts work.
No, and I literally had, if they call shit Watchmen of Fate interfere.
Okay, we are now on the final round.
Is this another thing of Nomura beating the shit out of Tabata? Because Fate was a real big part of Final Fantasy 15.
You can say that fucking he ate a sandwich, but Tabata ate a sandwich, but he made sure this sandwich had an olive with toothpick.
Yeah, but it's just so weird how it's like the plot of 15 is you can't fight Fate and everybody just goes along with Fate. And then this has the Watchers of Fate. It's just weird.
Yeah, you're right. Fate is a really big plot point in bad writing. Moving on to the final round of premonitions. I will go ahead and start us off. My last premonition for this episode is that you will see Hojo cuck someone other than Vincent in part 1 of the Final Fantasy VII remake.
There's no one left to cock.
It's Red 13's wife.
But he ain't got no wife yet.
No, it's gonna be someone else in that town. It may not even be an important character, but someone in Midgar is going to get cucked by Hojo in part 1.
Oh god, he does have those girls next to him during the beach part.
Hojo is a Chad.
As the plate is falling and Wedge is about to die, he can see, like, somehow hundreds of meters up into the air, Hojo fucking his wife.
Oh, man.
Please. It's the cuck shed for me.
Aw, man is not... It's not a good pair of last words, you know? Kind of a goal in life to not end your life by going, oh, man. Bob, you are next.
Sure.
What is your last gamer premonition for Final Fantasy VII Remake?
You know, I had
part
other... Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's a long title.
Yeah, it is. I don't mean to cut you off.
The part 1 is implied. But
On the CW.
On the CW after 7th Heaven.
I had thought of some other reasonable predictions that I thought would actually happen.
Okay.
And I'm showing all those to the wind.
Oh, no.
Someone who looks suspiciously like Genesis will show up.
Oh, no.
Okay, I have one related to this, which is specifically, there will be a direct reference to Crisis Core, but it won't be Genesis or Angeal.
I think that yours is way more likely. Just the thought of, like, near the end of the game, seeing just the back of his dumb coat and being like, wait a second. I feel like the coat, at least, will be a cameo.
You actually sniped, like, most of mine. In which I went, there will be a secret ending that you will unlock, and it will play a trailer similar to the one we got in 2015 that announced this whole thing, where it will show you, like, background shots, maybe there's some narration by Cloud or something, of different locations and moments, and it will cut with you seeing the black feathers, and then you're like, oh, it's Sephiroth, and then you see the back of the black coat. Maybe there's like a Loveless book in the background, and that'll tell you this remake's about to actually be good. Redemption.
Just the fucking barrel of the gun in my mouth.
I don't know what's wrong, Phil. The remake's just going to be a complete rewriting of the original game to include lots of weird stuff that shouldn't be in it, and make sure that Aristar's alive.
I have faith that they know all that shit in Crisis Core is bad.
No, they don't.
No, wrong. Also, it's good.
I have faith because I don't think we will see President Shinra's other son who turns into a weird monster from Genova cells.
Don't worry about it. It's all really, you know.
We will
You guys are gonna learn.
They also kind of soft confirmed that it might have Crisis Core stuff, but wouldn't literally be in Crisis Core canon because that town that got nuked to shit is fine. Apparently, they said
they're going to have. There will be legends of Zack murdering thousands of people in some desert before dying.
Activating combat mode.
The part with the slots breaking is real Kino. It's the most Kino part of that game by a lot.
Yeah, it's the only part of that game I wholly remember.
Well, that seems like a powerful premonition, Bob. Mr. Feel, do you have something to top it?
Now, sadly, I don't. 'Cause this isn't plot related.
Okay.
Now, there weren't really a bunch of mini games in Midgar. You had to wait till you got to the Gold Saucer for that. But they're not gonna make you wait for game 2 to get your mini game fix. So there will be a branch of the Gold Saucer in Midgar.
I like it.
And here are some of the mini games that will be in it. Motorcycle racing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Triple Triad will be in this game because Triple Triad is popular. They put it in their weird mobile app, and it's in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
So they will put it in this game. It will be more sane than Final Fantasy VIII. You will have to go to like the Golden Saucer or card lounges throughout the game world to play Triple Triad, but it will be in there. And they have like a weird faux fighting game in the Golden Saucer in the original. In this, they'll just put in air geese.
No.
It will be like how the Yakuza games have full versions of Virtua Fighter and like fighting vipers in them. They will just stick air geese in this game.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. Will it sound like he's saying
it will start you on the character select menu, so you won't get to hear that.
That's unfortunate.
Oh man, if they do that, you could have an arcade of just all the classic PS1 Square Enix fighting games.
I thought you were gonna say the sequel could have the bouncer.
Oh no, he was going to talk about that samurai game, Bushido Blade. Yeah.
Also Tobal.
Well, you need Toriyama sign off.
Oh.
Here's a game and there's one thing that won't be in the Gold Saucer in Midgar, and that is Chocobo racing. I think they will want to keep the you leaving the city and seeing Chocobos for the first time on that ranch and getting to catch one.
Yeah, that I feel like that checks out. There's no way they do that early.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a Sephiroth fight.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't say they're going to make a mini game out of the barrel throwing thing. Make it Donkey Kong. Okay, KZ. You have the last premonition of this episode of Gamer Premonition Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1.
Let's see.
Copyright Square Enix. Published by the CW.
Fuck you, I'm doing multiple in one.
Oh no!
Yeah, nobody does that. I've never done that once.
No, this is unprecedented.
Mostly because these are a few small ones. Number one, when you complete the game, you'll basically get like an on-screen notification of like, Midgar is yours to explore, and then they will add multiple additional quests, high-leveled extra bosses, and other stuff like that. That'll be fun unlockables for you to like continue playing the game.
Casey, one thing on that. How many 125th soldiers will we be able to find?
As many as you want.
Are there going to be 125 125th scale soldiers?
Will that let me make
one soldier?
Make Sephiroth and get him on my party?
No, it lets you bring back Zack.
Oh, geez, nice.
Now, one of the super bosses in this, which is why I was specifically saying main characters only in Prediction 2, one of the super bosses will be a souped-up guard scorpion, but it's the PS1 look. But there will be multiple super bosses upon finishing the game and reasons to explore the world. That was a small one. Another one is something we haven't really brought up, and it's summons. Summons you don't really get until post Midgar, but we've seen so far you get little baby ones, like a Cactuar and like a Chocobo chick. I think there will be at least 2 summons in part 1 that are like full-on summons that you can use for combat that look cool, and at least one of them will be an entirely new to FF7 in general. I feel like one advantage they have is they can just use some of the summons that were just in Crisis Core, because I'm pretty sure it just straight up added another Bahamut form just in that game. Like I was trying to look up. Yeah, they added a Bahamut Fury, which is just a gold mech one that shoots a beam from space.
I feel like we're in the first game. They're not going to give us that. They'll give us Bahamut baby.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that they get, as an advantage, I feel like the games in general are going to have a lot more summons by the end. So they
Man, that seems crazy to me, because Final Fantasy VII has so many fucking summons. I think it's more likely some will be removed.
Yeah.
I almost feel like they could add more, like distribute them a bit more evenly.
Also,
to the point where I feel like we'll at least get 1 or 2 in the first part.
Also, Bob, it's Bahamut Zuki. Thank you.
Yes. But I feel like there will be some summons in this. The mechanic will mostly play out like cutscene, you're doing a lot of damage. But there will be things in it that allow you to control when you choose it, when you use it.
And it might be balanced?
And how everything works. It won't be Final Fantasy 15 where it's like, fucking, I don't know, it's been 5 minutes, hold this button, and we will roll the dice on which one you get. You're just gonna get the same one over and over again. They're not gonna do that.
I don't think I ever got one of those to proc the entire time I played that game.
Weird.
That's because the combat's super easy in that game, but if you take like 4 or 5 minutes, the screen sparkles, the music changes, and you hold the button. And then it'll give you one based on the terrain. Here, it'll probably be like some special little UI element, like a meter that you build up. You'll be limited to how often you can use them. It'll be a cool little cutscene where it deals some cool damage, and you're like, oh man, they put the budget in this. And
so it's like a ride in Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, but raw.
Yeah, I don't see him doing that many of them, just because, like, Final Fantasy, they only did, or 15, they only did, like, 4, and they were amazing looking, but, yeah.
But that game also only had, like, 2 years of real development.
That's fair.
Yeah, and those, I just feel like these would be a lot better, because I don't think they need to, like, do this big old lavish rendering of them. And you need to nuke the entire area and then show their models stand there as everything just dissolves. I don't think they really need to go in that way. But yeah, I think we'll see a couple of them.
They just need to make it a good game, which 15 isn't.
Yeah, it needs to be better than a 5.5. The last main thing, which was the thing I felt I needed to attach things to it, there will be a hard mode unlockable. It will specifically be called First Class, like a soldier first class. It'll have harder enemies, additional enemies, new materia to get, and if you beat it, playing Part 2 and Part 3, you will have that unlocked from the start as a bonus for playing the previous game. That way, seasoned veterans of the combat system can, get used to playing a harder version of the game.
Yeah, all that'd be really neat. I have to wonder if some of it kind of feels like things they would do in like an update a few months later, kind of like with Kingdom Hearts, but hopefully the game doesn't come in hot like
hopefully that would be in at launch, but I feel like some sort of hard mode on that would be really great, because that combat looks like a lot of fun, and with it being extra stressful, I could see it could be really cool. But yeah, I just threw three small ones.
And I'll throw one more because I forgot it with my Gold Saucer talk. In the Gold Saucer, they have that section with a play that only matters during the date. There will be a section with a play this time, and it will just be Loveless. You will get to see Loveless, or at least little parts of it. Loveless being the play that is on all the billboards, even in the original game, and that Genesis is constantly reading and quoting from in Crisis Core.
Good lord.
Now, will you be able to date anyone in Part 1?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so too.
I'll say no to be different.
I'm also going to go with no because I hope for a better tomorrow.
No, this is going to be like a Fire Emblem game. We're going to be able to get
You know what? I'm
everybody
changing
hooked
my
up.
mind. Changing my mind. It's gonna be yes. This is on the CW. Riverdale's on there.
Yes, and because Jesse is now... Oh, man. If Jesse lives and they do that, it'll be fucking wild. Build up your romance points with one of these girls.
Well, you have to build up with her. She's one of the ancients, and it's gonna be really sad when they do the switcheroo.
Yeah.
She's just going to start dressing like Eris. Eris is going to disappear.
Well, these are all really great premonitions. Especially Bob's. Don't forget to go vote on who had the best premonitions.
You should make sure to adjust the poll correctly. I feel like last time you may have made a mistake.
No, I always copy and paste the poll every time. I just change what game we covered, but I'll take an extra look at it just to be sure. And we'll see you next time for Gamer Premonitions. Thank you for listening to this episode of Gamer Premonitions. This show, like our other podcasts, is only possible with the generous time our co-hosts have given to us and the equipment we've bought to make it higher quality and easier to produce. Please consider supporting our podcast series on our GigaBoots podcast Patreon and look forward to more Gamer Premonitions and Big Think Dimension in the future. This GigaBoots video was brought to you by our magnanimous executive producers, Vincent Povert, Nicholas Cameron, E. Lee Broyles, Brendan O'Sullivan, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Danny Richardson, Shadow in the Darkness, Dryzart, and Red Blaze 27. And also these guys. Head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today so you can try to be as cool as these people.